Dickie Dredd, New Age, New Age Travellers, A History, 1960 to 1990. Chapter 4, The Peace Convoy Gathers Strength. Increasing State Pressure. Many of these sites started to see an increase in state harassment. Old bills surrounding sites, regular trash-ins. Basically, the police would enter a home, be it a bender or a vehicle, wreck the interior, throw the clothes and tat out in the mud, and basically humiliate, even terrorise certain individuals and families. At first, the media treated the convoy as an oddity. Hippie pilgrims, one local paper put it. But that changed fast. As convoys grew and squatted land with increasing frequency, headlines darkened. Plague of travellers descends on town, The Sun. Drugs, dirt and danger inside the convoy, the news of the world. Unwashed army threatens Stonehenge, The Sun. Reporters were often refused access or jeered off sites. In return, the tabloids painted a picture of dirt, disorder and deviance, sometimes inventing whole stories. You soon learned that it's better not to speak to them or be photographed. The material would almost always be warped and negatively narrated. There are reports of supermarkets being raided by travellers, washing being stolen, livestock going missing, and shit being left elsewhere. Most of the media reporting was exaggerated best, but if you treat people like shit, you might get some back. But the cards were stacked against us in the public's eyes. From the late 1970s through 90s, mainstream media coverage of travellers routinely fixated on dirt, smells and hygiene, portraying us as unwashed, feral and disease-ridden. Tabloid newspapers coined lazy cliches like the Great Unwashed or Soap Dodgers, reinforcing a moral divide between the so-called respectable public and those choosing to live outside conventional norms. This obsession with physical cleanliness became a coded way to attack class, freedom and resistance, allowing commentators to frame travellers as both a health risk and a social nuisance. In reality, many traveller camps maintain communal washing setups, herbal remedies, compost toilets and bush bath systems, but that didn't fit the narrative. On the contrary, many travellers wooded, fixed vehicles and were simply closer to dirt. Some, me included to this day, believe it is not necessary to constantly cleanse yourself or look clean just to fit in. We're not dirty, we simply wash when we have to. We are oily people of the earth. Is that wrong? The insult wasn't really about dirt, it was about non-conformity and the fear of lives lived beyond control. While NHS dental care was technically free or low cost during the era, in practice travellers faced major barriers to treatment. Many dental practices required a fixed address for registration, proof of residency within a catchment area, and a stable medical history or GP referral, all of which posed problems for those living on the road or without permanent accommodation. In oral histories and traveller zines, there are repeated mentions of people self-extracting teeth, using clove oil, whiskey or cannabis for pain relief, or relying on herbal remedies and peer-to-peer advice in lieu of formal care. Mobile clinics occasionally appeared at festival alternative health gatherings, sometimes run by sympathetic practitioners or anarchist medics, but they were rare and under-resourced. Communal ethic meant that knowledge and care was shared, but serious dental issues could become debilitating. The issue became part of a wider conversation about how state services were designed for the settled and compliant, how essential health care became a class and lifestyle privilege. Margaret Thatcher, while never issuing a direct quote, explicitly stating that she wanted to destroy travellers, oversaw and encouraged policies and rhetoric that deeply affected the traveller and free festival movements during her time as Prime Minister from 79 to 90. A government's law and order agenda, heavy policing of festivals and support for local authorities in evicting traveller encampments reflected a clear effort to suppress the movement. That said, one of the most infamous political attitudes towards travellers during the era came from conservative politicians and police chiefs, not always directly from Thatcher herself. Here's a widely cited Thatcher tone. The rule of law must be upheld. These people are not above it. Thatcher paraphrased from Commons debate on civil disobedience. And a quote from a senior police officer during her time speaking about free festivals. They are not innocent dropouts, they are organised, mobile and dangerous. These sentiments fed directly into militarised responses and set the tone for later legislative crackdowns. As an aside, It is difficult to express the hatred of Thatcher in the travellers' community. She symbolised everything we did not. Even hearing her name or seeing a photograph of her makes some travellers shudder with fear, most with anger. But seeing how she destroyed the mining community, then feeling the whip of her tail first hand, I have never met a traveller with one single good word to say about her. This was not just a Conservative hatred, it was personal. From 1982 onwards, police operations began to resemble military manoeuvres. Convoy sites were surrounded at dawn, sealed off by roadblocks and hit with confiscations and arrests. Wiltshire Constabulary, Hampshire Police developed internal traveller task forces. Later, the controversial Operation Daybreak, a forerunner to Beanfield, trialled surveillance and large-scale convoy interception. By the early 1980s, the eviction of the women's peace camps at Greenham Common had rippled far beyond the fences of the US airbase. It energised a generation of road-based activists, feminists, ex-squatters and anti-nuclear protesters, many of whom drifted into the expanding traveller movements. These weren't just dropouts, they were survivors of state confrontation, hungry for self-rule and already radicalised. They joined forces with existing crews of bus dwellers, builders, anarcho-punks and rural communards. And one of the places they all gravitated to each year was, of course, Stonehenge.